Welcome to BFE, the Blunt Fortitude Exchange. I am your host, Jackknife Finnegan, along with
Slizzle
and GamingCube.
And this is our first podcast among many where we discuss wrestling from the Attitude Era to the future and even now. I hope you guys enjoy, and let's get this started. So, guys, I'm going to bring up a topic with you guys, and we're going to go from there. A lot of you guys might not have seen it. I'm not going to try to do any spoilers. This might be a spoiler alert. I don't know. But there was recently an AEW pay-per-view where they did an explosion match, and a lot of people are giving them hell about it because it was a botched job. It looked terrible. So let's bring that to the table. What is your take on that? Anyone want to take the form? You get Slizzle or GamingCube, whoever wants to take it.
Yeah, I'll start. So when I was watching the match, the actual ending, the botch part, I saw it and I was like, wait, that's it? Kind of gave me, it kind of felt like limp dick syndrome, you know what I'm saying? And I couldn't help myself. I had to go and look around and see, other matches of that type. And I stumbled upon another one in Japan, and I was like, oh, that's an explosion match. That's what it's supposed to look like.
Oh,
so
yeah.
My first take was that's it. My second was I gotta go look this up. What's the real thing?
Yeah, you know what's funny about that is I seen the AEW, and it literally looked like it was like kids at the end of the match or end of the ropes, and they're having sparklers. Like it looked like sparklers with a couple little shitty fireworks, and that was the fucking explosion. I was like, what? And then,
Right.
like you said, you went to watch, Japanese, and it looked like the whole fucking ring exploded. It looked like nobody survived it. But then you watch AEW, and it's like, this looks like some backyard picnic gone wrong. You know what I'm saying?
It honestly looked like Big Daddy Cool Diesel with his in-ring freaking pyro just shooting out of the turnbuckles.
But
With a little
okay,
smoke bomb going off.
okay, let's go off of that. I kind of like that idea where you're going. Okay, who had the best in-ring pyro? Since you want to bring up Big Daddy
Kane.
Diesel and his...
Stop.
Okay.
Kane, mic drop. Kane.
You can't go wrong with Kane.
Oh, shit. You're right,
I
too.
I like Psycho Sid though. I mean, his was very generic and simple, but having his name spelled out with the sparklers coming off at the top, I always like that too.
Okay, if you want to talk about sparklers, who remembers fucking Gilbert?
I knew you were coming up with Gilbert.
Bro, that was the most coldest entrance. They had this motherfucking old dude with no hair, with a big beer gut walk out, and his little black panties, and they're all holding the sparklers on them. That shit was so. Slizzle, do you remember Gilbert or no?
Hell yeah, I do.
Dude, Gilbert was fucking hilarious. He was hilarious. But you know what the funny thing is?
Dude was funny. You're right.
And the funny thing is, you guys, you brought up Kane. And Kane, bro, I was in the nosebleed seats when I went to Raw. And this is when Kane, came on the scene. And I could literally feel the heat from the fucking pyro all the way up in the nosebleed seats.
Yep. I seen Kane 3 times. And every time I did feel that heat.
I mean, the heat was
I never
hot.
sat front row or anything. I always sat way back, section 300. You could feel that heat.
I mean,
sure.
You gotta wonder, like, how fucking hot was it in the ring, bro? If you could feel it all the way from the nosebleeds.
Oh, God, man.
I mean, I'm surprised nobody got caught on fire.
Earl Hebner almost did.
Could you imagine? Fucking
You
standing
could hear
there.
Michael Cole at the table saying, "Get out of the ring, Earl," because he was standing right by the freaking ring, right by the corner, as that shit was coming out. Like he forgot his cue.
Give him a fucking haircut.
Burn cut.
I mean, let's not lie to each other. The AEW match was a good match. I mean, you had Dean Ambrose, which is now what, Moxley?
John Moxley.
Moxley. I mean, they had the barbed wire bat. They had the barbed wire ropes. They had everything they needed. Just the explosion was dog shit, which is sad. You know,
it really was.
And it sucks too because a bad ending can ruin a great match. Really,
exactly, and a great pay-per-view in general.
I was just gonna say that. I was just gonna say, you know, the sad thing about it is AEW put out the pay-per-view, and they had a great card. They had good matches, but what do you remember from the AEW pay-per-view? What do you remember about it?
I like the Young Bucks. Yeah, the Botch is what you remember the most.
Yeah,
and it sucks because like they had that great cinematic match with Darby Allin and Sting, and they had the Young Bucks versus Jericho and MJF, which was also a great match. The women's match was great, and like the main event itself, Omega and Moxley was really good. But at the end of the day, that's all everyone's gonna remember is that Botch.
Is the Botch, and that's fucked up because that just pretty much discredits everybody who wrestled. It's like. They might have put on the greatest show, you know, on earth, but no one's going to talk about it. No one remembers it. All they remember was the Botch fucking explosion, which is sad, you know, because
it goes both ways though. Be fair. Let's be fair. It goes both ways because you can have a spot that can make an average match into like, did you see that? He jumped 40 feet off of K. You know what I mean? So it can go both ways.
Yeah, 100%.
A pay-per-view. Like Shane McMahon is the king of spots. He's like, he is not a good wrestler at all, but he is the king of spots. And what do you remember from Shane McMahon?
He jumps off the cage.
Yeah. Jumped off the whole set, landed on Test.
Yeah, he jumps off a lot of shit. He's got a death wish.
Or he showed his toughness when he fought Kurt Angle at that King of the Ring, and Kurt Angle tried to give him a German suplex through that plexiglass, and he failed 3 times.
Oh, yeah. 3 times, yeah. That you can consider that a botch too, actually.
And then he went right through it. He put him through it, and then he put him through on the other end. And yeah, like watching that back is like, man.
And not to be and to go back to what you said, Slizzle, where the Botch can destroy the pay-per-view, and you know one thing great can make the pay-per-view. And let's recall King of the Ring, Mankind versus Undertaker, Hell in a Cell. What other match can you tell me happened at that King of the Ring, other than that match?
Nothing.
Exactly. That fucking match owned the whole pay-per-view.
Well, that's the greatest. To me, that's the greatest spot. And I won't say wrestling history because I know New Japan Wrestling has some crazy spots, but just as far as like WWE, you know, from what I'm seeing in WWE.
Yeah, that was nuts.
WWE history.
It still gets played this day for good reason.
I mean, yeah.
And good old JR, he made it perfect. Perfectly called it. Perfect.
Yep. Like that moment would have still been great, but it wouldn't have been what it was without Jim Ross calling that.
Where he's like, "Oh my God, they killed him! They killed him!"
Good God Almighty, he's broken in half.
And I'm sitting there.
Do you hear King says, "He hit him so hard, he hurt."
They put him on the stretcher, and he comes back just to get put through the cell, and man, on thumbtacks.
And it kind of makes me wonder when JR said they killed him. I'm thinking, who the fuck is they? Like, it was Undertaker. Like, he's not multiple people. Undertaker killed Mankind. Like,
he's probably talking about Vince and the bookers and everyone who put that spot together.
They killed him.
Talking about
he's
Big
fucking
Man,
dead.
Bruce Richard, Jim Cornette, Vince Russo, they all killed him.
You want to talk about fortitude, Mankind, Mick Foley, Cactus Jack, that dude, one of the toughest guys in the history of wrestling, bar none.
But
you guys seen his Japanese death matches with Terry Funk, and
I gotta give it to you that man bleeds fortitude. That man, you know, one thing that made me think this guy. I mean, I knew he was insane. I knew he was crazy, but. There's a movie out there called Beyond the Mat, and this is a match between him and The Rock, and his hands are handcuffed, and he's getting hit in the head over and over again with a chair to the point where his head like opens up, and after the match, he goes to the doctor to get stitched, and all this man is asking is, did the people get their money's worth? And I'm thinking, bro, your head looks like a pair of pussy lips. And all you're worried about is, did they get their money's worth? Are you fucking insane, bro? You know?
Him and The Rock at the Royal Rumble '99. handcuffed, getting battered with the steel chair.
Yeah, that was crazy. But yeah, I couldn't believe that shit when I seen that, and all I was worried about was, did they get their money's worth? And I'm like, bro, your fucking head looks like pussy lips, bro. Like, it's not good. It's not good at all.
But that's what you said though. He bleeds for the cause. He bleeds fortitude. He's really about making sure the crowd goes home happy and entertained.
And one thing I'm really happy
And
about,
talking about him too, the matches as well. Because wrestlers love to have fans talking about certain matches and certain points in a match well after the match is over, because that means to them that what they did, the show they put on, the product they put forth was excellent, was outstanding. Because at the end of the day, these guys, their bodies, literally, that's their business. It's their bodies, and they throw caution to the wind to entertain us every single night.
that is true. That is true.
They put their lives on the line for it.
And you know what makes me happy is the fact that Slizzle brought up fortitude, because in this podcast, this is a BFE Blunt Fortitude Exchange. Now, for those that don't know, during the Attitude Era, during, Mankind and, Terry Funk, Chainsaw Charlie, so on and so forth, they used the word fortitude. It was attitude and it was fortitude. And that is why we named this the Blunt Fortitude Exchange. And the exchange comes from the exchange between me, Slizzle, and GamingCube. So I'm very glad you brought that up, because then we could really touch base on what this podcast is about and what it entails. So that was a very slick move. I like that. That was a good one.
Yeah. Well, you got to, This is our first one, so people need to know what the hell we're talking about and why we're talking about it and what the words mean.
And another thing is, who remembered Chainsaw Charlie?
Oh, yeah.
Chainsaw.
Cactus Jack, Chainsaw versus New Age Outlaws in that dumpster match.
That's all that came to my head, too. I'm not even going to lie. That literally was the only thing that came to my head.
Exactly. That's like really the only main match I remember. Chainsaw Charlie being in WWF. And swinging that chainsaw around the ring, too.
And then they put him in the fucking dumpster and push him off
Push him off the stage, yeah.
Yeah, that shit was insane. Now
they also had that cage match with DX where they handcuffed him to the blue steel cage and they're just whopping him with steel chairs.
Well,
that was the formation of DX.
And then the fact that we're on DX right now and we talked about the New Age Outlaws. Now let's go to Slizzle. Slizzle, in his mind, who is the best intro to the wrestling match in your opinion? Like, who is the best intro?
Like an intro promo?
Yeah.
Like an intro promo?
Yeah.
Obviously, you know me, it's going to be Road Dogg.
Road Dogg Jesse James, hands down.
Hands down.
I mean, what do you think, GamingCube? I mean, you've seen other people, some people might not like all the talking. Some people might like, Rey Mysterio, or, someone that comes in, jumps over the top rope, does some fancy flips, and that's about it. Or maybe like Rob Van Dam, where they do a tornado kick and they say, I'm the whole fucking show. I mean, what do you think was the best intro wrestler?
Well, in terms of like entrances, which is different, there's like plenty that top Road Dogg. But when you're coming down the ring and you're pretty much cutting a promo like Road Dogg was, I mean, nothing really tops that. And the only one I could think of that would be second would be Triple H when he was in DX. When he get the whole crowd riled up, let's get ready to suck it now.
Yeah. I mean,
that's pretty much right.
Oh, yeah, I do like that too.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages.
Yeah, the road dog would be, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, D-Generation X probably brings to you his tag team champions of the world, the Road Dogg Jesse James, badass Billy Gunn. They are the New Age Outlaws, and if you don't like it, we got 2 words for you: suck it. And
we got the crowd so hyped.
I mean,
you know what? I got goosebumps right now just thinking about that, bro. Like, I love that. It gets you hyped.
I mean, he made
going, "Oh, are you ready?" Then he repeat it, and he goes, "Then for the thousands of attendants and the millions watching at home." And then he would just, for the fat ass guys sitting in a row, whatever. Let's get ready to suck it.
Let's get ready to suck it. Oh man, I forgot all about Triple H.
You know what? I'm sorry. There is a newer guy. He's not with WWE anymore, but he was good with this intro promo. Enzo Amore. Remember him?
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys know who that is. He actually had a good intro promo. I'm not gonna lie. Him and Big Cass. He says he's 7 feet tall, and you can't teach that. Who's guys in the room? What are you doing?
And that got this super over too. The whole, like I said, the whole entire crowd was, going along right with it.
And he would dance. How you doing? How you doing? The crowd would start chanting. How you doing? It was good. I'm not gonna lie. He's pushing Road Dogg for that one. He's a dirtbag too. Him and Big Cass are dirtbags, but that's besides the point.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, if you break apart the character, but if we're going off performance, he was pretty good.
I never for like the more current. I'd say R-Truth. A lot of people probably see R-Truth because he would literally come to the ring rapping like his entire entrance. But I mean, like I said, I never really got down on R-Truth, Ron Killian's K-Quick. But I mean, he got a lot of his shtick from Road Dogg because they were in a tag team.
R-Truth, he does. He does do the rapping. He comes down. You can get with this. You can get with that. What's up? What's up? Yeah.
I mean, if we want to talk about rappers, and I mean, he wasn't a rapper, but if we want to talk about,
say John Cena.
No.
Say John Cena.
No. Fuck that. No. No, I was saying more like, you guys remember fucking, now he wasn't a rapper, but he's in that category. You guys remember fucking New Jack, right? New Jack?
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Now that fucking dude, he came out to Natural Born Killers, by Dr. Dre and Ice Cube, probably one of the most underrated songs of all time. But he came out to that. And the funny thing is, he actually said on multiple shoot interviews that he would do like cocaine before he would go out. Like he'd sniff a fucking line and he'd go to fucking wrestle. Could you imagine wrestling New Jack while he's on cocaine? I would fucking be so scared. I would be in a corner crying, bro.
Putting your life in so much danger.
I mean, because that guy didn't give a fuck. That guy did not give a fuck, bro. He would beat you with everything he could find. He didn't give a fuck, bro. He'd staple gun your ass. Man.
He literally cut this guy's head open. The mass transit incident in '96, I believe it was, where he fought a guy that was completely unqualified, wasn't even trained, had him in the ring, and he just cut him open with a freaking blade.
I mean, he didn't give a fuck, bro. That guy was out of control, man.
Exactly.
I'd be scared out of my mind. If I just seen him do a line, I'd be like, oh, fuck. I'm sick. I'm not showing up. I'm good. Tell Paul Heyman I'm out.
I can tell he looked up to Abdullah the Butcher a lot, too, because I see a lot of similarities with Abdullah the Butcher and New Jack. I mean, their forehead looks exactly the same, too, where it's just all cut to shit and everything. And it's just, that guy was crazy.
Abdullah the Butcher.
Mm-hmm. Abdullah the Butcher, he liked to stab people with forks and stuff.
Yeah.
All that stuff.
Slizzle, you know who Abdullah the Butcher is, don't you?
No, I don't remember him. I'm sure if I looked up some old stuff, I'm like, oh yeah, that guy, but off the top of my head, no.
I mean, he wasn't a technically sound wrestler. I mean, he was one that would really fuck you up, and he'd bring his fork out. He'd pull his fork out of his nutsack and fucking stab you in the head, and you're like, great, I got nut sweat on my forehead and I'm bleeding. Like, this is great. Like that. Like, who would love that? Honestly,
he was mainly big in Japan, but yeah, he was in ECW and WCW. He was in that Chambers of Horrors match where he actually had to be put in like those that worked electric chair and stuff with that. That was in '91 Halloween Havoc, I think. I mean,
let's talk about disgusting parts of wrestling. Tell me a disgusting point of wrestling other than like, the wrestlers that would dig in their fucking Speedo after wrestling and hit you with shit. I would say the grossest one was Hacksaw Jim Duggan, bro. That dude would dig deep in his fucking blue panties and pull his shit right out, and he would just rub your face with it, and you're like, oh, fuck, bro. This dude's been wrestling the entire match, and he's literally hitting me with all this ball sweat. Could you imagine, bro?
Or you had like the nasty boys too. They would rub their opponents in their armpits and shit like that.
Oh, and then Rikishi. How can we forget Rikishi?
Rikishi, right?
Yeah.
He'd put your fucking nose right in his asshole. Oh,
I
gross.
think I heard a story. I forgot the wrestler, but he was talking about, he was doing an interview and he's talking about wrestling Andre the Giant. And towards the end of the match, Andre's obviously huge, Andre the Giant, duh.
Yeah.
His what do you call that thing he wears? His singlet. That's right. It's called a singlet.
I think so, yeah. The proper term, yeah.
Yep.
It was completely drenched in sweat, and he put this guy in like some kind of weird headlock, and then like squeezed the sweat into the guy's mouth. It was like, it wasn't like now. Okay, so normal human beings sweat. It's a drip, 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 drip. His sweat was I guess the best way to describe it is a waterfall.
Exactly.
Well,
Waterfall.
and then the gross thing about it is they weren't kept back in the day. They weren't shaved. They were full on hairy chest, hairy armpit, hairy legs. Like they were full on hair dudes. They weren't like today where they're all nicely shaved and groomed. But back in the day, he was like a fucking bear. You know what I'm saying? Oh my God. Yeah.
And the guy said he laughed about it.
Fuck that. I'd be throwing
what
up.
What are you going to do? Fight the guy?
No, I'd be fucking gagging in the corner. I'd be like that.
With the added weight, I mean, that just adds to it. Because I remember they always said Haystacks Calhoun. He was like one of the biggest wrestlers weight-wise of all time. And the rumor around him was that he just smelled like complete, just smelled terrible. So I can only imagine with Ahmed.
Well, what about Yokozuna? Yokozuna wasn't no fucking Slim Surfer.
No, he wasn't.
Fucking.
And yeah, he's dropping his whole entire ass on you from the top rope.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie. He had a dope ass manager. I don't know why I can't. Was it Fuji?
Yeah, Mr. Fuji.
Yeah.
Mr.
I mean,
Fuji.
yeah, Mr. Fuji was. I mean, in all honesty, who was the best ring manager? I mean, you have so many greats. You got Bobby Heenan. You got Fuji. Yeah, but then you got Paul Heyman. You got Paul Heyman.
Paul Bearer.
Paul Bearer. I mean, you got
Paul Bearer was great. I love Paul Bearer.
Paul Bearer was fucking phenomenal for a manager. He was fucking great.
Jimmy Hart.
The mouth of the South. Yep. Jim Cornette.
Yeah.
Jim Cornette.
Yep.
Jim Cornette was a motherfucker. He's always been a motherfucker, that guy. He's just an asshole. I don't know, like, is he an asshole or is he like right about shit all the time to the point where we declare him as an asshole? That's what I'm confused.
Say he's right all the time, but he is one of those people where he will just give out his opinion. If you don't like it, you can piss off, and I like that about him. And like
I like that about Jim Cornette too.
His opinions may be controversial, but I mean, shit, he gets his point across. Like I said, if you don't like it, piss off, and that's what I like about him. I don't agree with everything he says, but I do respect Jim Cornette, not just as a manager, but I respect him as his opinion and as a podcaster too. Like I could listen to him. So
what you're saying is he's not an asshole. He's just one of those people that I don't know if I can like explain it. You know what I'm saying? Like certain people are assholes, and then certain people are right to a degree where the general population will declare him as an asshole, but in reality he is not an asshole. Does that make sense or no?
Oh yeah.
I mean, I'm trying to find a better way to word it, and I can't. So
he's just very upfront about it. He's just very upfront with his opinions. The only opinion with his I disagree with is how he wants to make wrestling go backwards instead of forwards. Like he wants it to go back to like, the mid 80s style and, rest holds all match and all this stuff. He doesn't like the high risk flippy type stuff. And I mean, that's the one thing about wrestling. You can't go backwards with it. It's always moving forward. Whenever you go backwards, it just fails.
Well, and which is dumb because that's honestly what made wrestling. The fucking Attitude Era and ECW, in my opinion, made wrestling. You know, I mean, the 80s served their purpose, you know, all the technicalities, all that shit. But you're right. Wrestling is progression. It's not, you know, going back in
You gotta
time.
go with the times. Exactly.
You know, I agree 100%.
Yeah, you got to keep moving forward.
It's just
Don't
like,
never go back.
you know, in the 80s, it was all about, you know, the superhero and the good guy winning. And then when you got into the 90s, you know, I mean, society changes and they want to see the anti-hero. That's why Stone Cold was so big and Undertaker. And even though Undertaker was a good guy for most of his career, but they wanted to see the anti-hero win.
Yeah, exactly.
You can't revert back to the bubblegum superhero, like, because it just doesn't work. It doesn't work. They tried it with Cena, they tried it with Reigns, and no, the fans will just reject it.
No,
Well,
the wrestling community and fans in general are a lot smarter now too. They're much smarter.
And now that you brought up John Cena, there's two things I'm gonna bring up about John Cena. When he first came on the scene, he made a rap album. I don't know if you ever heard it, but I listened to it.
Oh, yeah.
It had one good song on it. I can't tell you what it was, but it had one good song. Other than that, it was trash. And now
I know what you're talking about. Which song you're talking about?
I think it was with the. I think it was
they made a video for it.
Yeah.
I was at a SmackDown when they played that video on the Titantron. I'm not sure if it was like the debut or the release of it. I know what song you're talking about. I just can't remember the name of it.
Yeah,
it was like a mellow, kind of family friendly kind of hip hop song.
It was the only song that was on there that was decent. But now let's fast forward and let's all ask ourselves this question. What the fuck is up with John Cena's hair, bro? Like, what? How did he
on Instagram all the time pop up his little silly hair? He got
like how did he go? How did he go from fucking Eminem, you know, buzz cut to fucking soccer dad? Like, what the fuck is that?
I originally thought, and maybe it was for a movie, like he just did it for a movie, but yeah, he's kept that hairstyle, and it just does not look good on him.
I mean, could someone send that guy a memo or something and say, bro, what the fuck? Like, you went from what was his movie, The Marine? Was it The Marine or no?
Yeah, he was in The Marine. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
They had a lot of different guys in The Marine.
It's like you went from The Marine to fucking what's a stupid soccer fucking movie? I don't even know.
Daddy Daycare. I don't know. I don't even know.
Yeah. Fuck it. That's a good one. Even though that's not soccer.
Daddy's Home with Will Ferrell and Wahlberg.
I mean,
no, I saw that one.
I mean, you went from The Marine to Daddy Daycare. Like, what the fuck? Come on now. I mean, that hair, bro. Cut the fucking hair. Hashtag cut the fucking hair. I don't understand that.
It's his hair. It looks ridiculous on it. He needs to just.
I don't know who told him.
He looks like a soccer dad, pretty much.
I mean, I don't know who told him that shit looked good. I don't know. Like, did he wake up one day and he's like, God damn. And then everyone in the house was like, God damn. And then he's rocking it.
He got rid of Nikki Bella, too, I think, because they were dating for a while. I'm not sure if he was with her when he had that or not.
No, fuck no. Nikki Bella ain't going to fucking hang out with that.
Hell no.
I don't think Nikki Bella can for that hair.
She ain't gonna rock that fucking hairdo. Nobody is.
He probably had a crisis after leaving her and realized it wasn't the right decision. Then he just let himself go, mainly his hair.
I'm gonna let my life go. Okay, just by hair.
Right. I mean, I was watching that match at last WrestleMania with him and Bray Wyatt. It was like that cinematic Firefly Funhouse match. And that was like the main thing I noticed was how he just looks so just dumb with that hairstyle. It's one thing. It's one thing to have that hairstyle in a movie, but when you're coming back, being John Cena, you know, in your jean shorts and your Cena shirt, and you have that hairstyle, it just looks so out of place.
Yeah, it looks like Eminem all growing up. You know, it's not good. Exactly. It's not good. It's not good.
It takes me away from the action too. I keep thinking about it. I don't want to think about his hair. I want to see the action.
Exactly.
I want to see who he buries next.
I was looking forward to that match the whole night, and I watched him like, damn, all I can focus on is seeing his hair.
Well, And then another thing is, jumping over to WWE. Now, this is one thing I enjoy about this podcast is we keep it moving. We keep the topics moving. We jump from avenue to avenue, and I like that. We keep it fresh. Now I'm going to jump to something completely different. Did you guys watch that? I don't know if it was a pay-per-view. I don't know if it was a show. I don't know. But it had, I think it was Alexa Bliss, and she lights this match. And then all of a sudden, Randy Orton's in the ring. And then AJ Styles comes. Randy Orton's like bleeding or like spitting out black shit out of his mouth. And then AJ Styles comes in. And so what's that all about? I just caught a glimpse of that. And I was like, what the fuck? Like AJ Styles, when he was in, what was it, TNA? I think he was fucking insane in TNA. And then he came over to WWE, grew his fucking hair out, and became like not as good. It's like they kind of ruined him.
He's had a handful of decent matches, but yeah, he's not at the point where he was. And that could be due to who he's working with. That could be how they booked the match, because usually when guys come over from, TNA or they come up from NXT from the indies, they're like completely different. And it's not like Ricochet. He was really good in Japan, but he comes over in WWE and he's just like a shell of his former self. And I think that's attributed to how they book the matches. Because everything it's about booking. It has to be so perfect with everything that they do, from promos to the in-ring. You can't ad-lib on your promos. You can't just, ad-lib in the ring. Everything is just so scripted to a T, where it's just like so formulaic, and it brings the match quality down so much.
One of the few ones that has creativity, or maybe he doesn't, and they script it really, really well, is Bray Wyatt. It seems like he's able to. He is one of the best promos in the history of wrestling and mankind ever. Bray Wyatt. I don't think. Maybe he has, obviously, because he's human. I don't think I've ever heard him stumble or stutter.
I've never seen him botch anything or stutter on the mic.
He is hands down one of the best promos ever. I don't know if they gave him the creativity because they're like, oh wow, this guy's, you know what, let's hands off. He knows what he's doing. Yeah. Maybe they do, but when you unleash these guys in ring and in promo, whatever they're great at, they thrive after they leave WWE. You notice that? They seem to thrive. Look at Cesaro. Cesaro's one of the most technically gifted wrestlers ever. Cesaro's incredible, but he's not one of Vince's guys, and he'll never be on the top. And the way they book him, they always keep him, like you said, cookie cutter.
Exactly. They keep him in the mid card, and they keep the shit so formulaic. I mean, according to Vince, he doesn't have the personality to get over. But I mean, there's been a lot of wrestlers who don't really have the personality per se, but they still can get over.
So, does anybody remember that Bray Wyatt used to be Husky Harris? No, they know him. I mean, we do, but I'm talking about like more people think about him as the Fiend. Or think about him as Bray Wyatt, not Husky Hair. Husky Harris.
Husky Harris.
Go back and look at his old. Go back and look at his old pictures. He looks so generic, just a fat baby face dude.
Yeah, that one picture where he's smiling at the camera with his long blonde hair, and it's just like, oh my god. But he's the reason behind Alexa Bliss, acting the way she is now, because Bray Wyatt's character, the Fiend, is pretty much possessed Alexa Bliss, and Randy Orton, set him on fire or whatever, so Bray's been out of the picture, off TV for a little bit now. So now Alexa's kind of carrying that storyline with Randy Orton. She threw the fireball in his face. She made him puke up that black stuff or whatever. And they've been doing some really good stuff. They've been doing some really good stuff with Alexa Bliss lately.
She's very talented. I don't know if you guys know her well, but I watched her. She's talented. Alexa Bliss is good.
She is really, really good. I liked her for a while. I remember the one match she had where she acted like she broke her arm just because she's double jointed. They had to stop the match because they thought she broke her arm, and then she was just, playing possum and got the win. Like, she knows how to put on a good match. She knows how to do storytelling, and just with this recent rivalry with, Bray and Randy Orton, she's just getting to show, so much talent. And it's really good.
And they have to do that. They have to do that with Becky Lynch. Not really around. Remember, because Becky Lynch had her little 2-3 year run, right, where she was top, and it was the iconic moment where the bumbling buffoon Nia Jax broke her nose.
Yeah, I remember that. Yep, that's pretty much what skyrocketed her, because she just looked like a complete badass after that.
Absolutely. because Nia Jax is an idiot. She's terrible. She's awful. Like literally one of the worst wrestlers ever. She's so bad.
I liked her in the beginning, but yeah, she's just not good.
Is that the one that did the leg drop on the fucking curtain and said, "Oh, my hole"? Was that the one?
That was her.
Oh my god. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I've took some bump. You know, it's funny because I took bumps in a wrestling ring back when I was like 17, 16. And if you fall in the ring a certain way, it really does hurt your asshole or your ball bag. And you're just like, fuck. And it fucking hurts. But when I watched that, the amount of force that she put down on that, she might have hit her she had hit her tailbone. And it just fucking, she's like, my hole. I'm like, oh, and fuck.
That side of the canvas, that edge of the ring, that is the hardest part of the ring, too.
Yeah, it is hard. And she's literally the epitome of nepotism. Because she should have been fired a long time ago.
Well, I'm sure she knows some people that rob some people.
Well, she's cousins with The Rock, the Usos, and Roman Reigns.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, she's in there. She's in there.
Yeah. Just based off of her size, they probably want to push her just because, you know, she's big and stuff like that. She looks imposing, but she just cannot wrestle.
What is she, like 6'2", 6'3", about 300? Somewhere around there. She's big.
About 260, 300, yeah. They kind of want to, I think, like when she first came in, I know it's probably bad, but I kind of thought of her more like as a China type because, you know, she was big, she could wrestle the dudes. And then I kind of saw her more as like an Awesome Kong, that they were trying to build her as like Awesome Kong type person, just like a dominant, big female. But
well, she's the first person ever to compete in both the men's and women's Royal Rumble.
Yep.
She actually got elimination too. You're right. They were trying to push her to be with but this is I don't care.
I remember Randy Orton gave big a RKO in the Rumble.
Oh yeah.
That was good.
I was so happy to see that. I love when she gets ragdolled and thrown around by the men. Like, stay in your lane, Nia Jax.
I mean, like, she's had so many chances, but she's proven time and time again that she cannot wrestle. She's pretty bad on the mic too, and she does botch a lot. And yeah, you can't have that. And eventually, they're just gonna. Eventually,
there's no worker good enough to carry her. Like she has to bring something. I don't know. I feel like with her size and how bad she is, she's really gonna seriously hurt one of these girls. She already has hurt a few.
I miss the OG female wrestlers. I miss fucking Jacqueline. I miss Jacqueline. Jacqueline was good shit. I like Jacqueline. You know, Sable. Fucking
was a hell of a wrestler.
You know, Jacqueline, Sable. Trish Stratus, she wasn't really a good wrestler, but god damn, she looked good. Let's not lie to each other.
No, and Ivory, she wasn't much to look at either, but she was also a great wrestler.
Who was that?
Ivory, she was the brunette.
Oh yeah. Ivory.
Times. Yeah, she was in Right to Censor for a little bit.
And then Lolita was a fucking powerhouse.
Lita's a boss.
I love Lita. Lita's one of my favorite female wrestlers ever.
Yeah, Lita was a fucking boss. I mean, those were the fucking OG female wrestlers, in my opinion. I mean, obviously you got May and those other fucking old school shit, but that shit was lame. Now let me tell you something.
Best women's wrestler, well, besides Mae Young and Alundra Blaze, Medusa,
time. But those guys too.
Other than her, there was nobody like during the New Generation era that could really wrestle. Besides Luna Vachon. Luna Vachon was pretty cool too.
Luna Vachon would fucking eat your soul, bro.
Exactly.
That woman scared the fuck out of me, dude.
She was crazy.
Bro, if she was ever mad at if she ever got mad at me, I'd be like, I'm sorry. Whatever I did, I'm good because you're probably going to chew my balls off. I'm good.
Oh, yeah. She was a beast.
I was just thinking about, what's her name? Carrie Runnels, and it made me think about Gold Dust.
Oh, fucking Gold Dust.
I love Gold Dust. Gold Dust is like that. Okay. So the Attitude Era is obviously the best era, right?
In my opinion, yeah.
Yep.
I think Gold Dust is the is the epitome of what the Attitude Era represents. And stick with me here. You know how we say guys are toil on mid card nowadays, right?
Mm-hmm.
They toil with mid card, they get buried, and no one cares. Goldust was a mid card guy in Attitude Era, but he stood out still. He had creativity. He wasn't just generic bland. He still was great.
That was
he was
another
just another
great thing
guy.
about the Attitude Era. The mid card was just talented. They pushed everyone like they all had their own storyline. They all had importance on the show. Like all the mid carders did. D'Lo Brown, Godfather, Val Venus, Goldust. List goes on.
You bring up a valid point actually, and it kind of makes me wonder: is that what's wrong with wrestling today? Is you brought up an insane good point, Slizzle, that from the beginning of Raw to the end of Raw, you gave a fuck about all those wrestlers. Where nowadays you only give a fuck about like 3 or 4 of them, and everyone else gets lost in the shuffle.
Mm-hmm.
That's actually a really good fucking point.
3 hours is way too long for sure.
But that actually brings. I'm actually impressed by that point because he brings it up really good because fucking Goldust was a fucking mid card. D'Lo Brown was like a dark match, you know what I mean? Like the shadow matches. Yeah. But everybody gave a fuck about him. You know what I'm saying? Like that's crazy. Yep. I never even thought of that.
The Attitude Era rarely had what we call bathroom break matches.
I never even thought of that. That's a good fucking idea. That could be the second podcast right there because I mean that's a genius idea. And it's funny. I mean, and it's funny too because earlier on in the podcast you were talking about how everything is well scripted, everything is put together, and I think the success of AEW is the fact that it's supposedly not scripted. It's supposedly more freelanced. Now, what do you guys think about that?
I mean, obviously there's people who, oversee everything. They can't just go off. But yeah, they have way more freedom compared to WWE because they hand them a script in WWE and be like, you have to read this verbatim. You can't ad lib or anything like that. And you can tell just by watching certain promos on AEW and even how matches play out, how they ad lib in their promos, and they have the formula that they follow in their matches, but they can also go off the cuff and do different stuff, and that's what makes a great match. Well, because if you just follow it by standard, it's just exactly. Because in WWE, what they do is they hold people back from their potential. They don't let them branch out and push the envelope, as they used to say all the time and during the Attitude Era. Push the envelope. You can't do that anymore. But AEW, they let people do that.
That's an interesting take. I mean, I've heard that. I've heard that on multiple occasions because I've seen that. I think Jericho brought it up and a couple other wrestlers brought it up that they do got more freedom, and WWE is like, it's like, this is how it is. If you don't like it, get the fuck out. And I was like, that's kind of jank because they have good people that have their own personalities. But now let's play off that token and let's go to WCW. Remember WCW? A lot of the problem with WCW is they brought all the real life shit to the wrestling ring. Like if like their wife was cheating on them, they would bring that to the fucking show. If someone was
Kevin Sullivan and Chris Benoit. They actually brought that into the storyline.
And I thought that was crazy about WCW is WCW brought real life shit to the ring, and that's what their whole selling point was. Like, it was crazy.
Well, Eric Bischoff was nuts. Eric Bischoff's nuts.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, they were like, oh, your wife cheated on you? Let's fucking make a story out of it. You can beat the shit out of each other legally. It's like, what the fuck?
And that's exactly, like I said, that's exactly what they did because Nancy Benoit, she was originally with Kevin Sullivan, and then she had an affair with Chris Benoit, and they played that out on the TV. Benoit versus Sullivan was a hot rivalry at that time.
I mean, that's crazy, bro.
Now speaking of WCW, I'm going to put Jack on the spot right now, and I think he knows where I'm about to go.
Let's go.
Let's say you're walking to the store, and someone's standing behind you. You know how you hold the door open for someone to come in the store, right? Just like any building. If it was Lex Luger, would you hold the door for him, or would you let it close in his face?
Well, honestly, I can't be rude. I would hold the door for anybody. That's just me. That's me. That's Minnesota hospitality. We hold the door for everybody. No matter if they say thank you or what, you hold the fucking door, which is stupid, but that's just what we do here. But honestly, if I seen Lex Luger, I would be like, "Hey, what's up, man?" And I would gladly like to have a picture. I would gladly talk to him. I would conversate with him, but Lex Luger is an asshole. He's not
there
that
it is.
good.
I was waiting for it.
I mean, if I seen him in real life, obviously I'm gonna fucking kayfabe and be like, "Oh my God, Lex Luger!" You know, I'll be like anybody else, but behind closed doors, I'm like, "Fuck Lex Luger." You know what I mean?
Fuck that guy. That guy's an asshole.
Yeah,
I
fuck
met
that.
Lex Luger way back in the day during his Lex Express. I remember it, but I was also too young to like really remember it all the way fully. I was probably like 4 or 5 when I met Lex Luger.
And how was
I
it?
never liked him. I never liked him though.
He just
I mean,
has
obviously larger than life cut type of guy. This is around the time where after Hogan left and they're buffing Lex Luger up to be like the next Hulk Hogan pretty much. So it was during that hype. So I was obviously really excited to meet him.
You know what's
but looking back on it, it's like this guy's trash.
You know what's funny is you brought that up where you said they're trying to make him be the next Hulk Hogan, and it never really dawned on me until now that they were fucking trying to make him like the next Hulk Hogan. Because you remember Hulk Hogan was the first ever person to body slam Andre the Giant, right? Remember that?
Yep.
First ever person to do it.
Yep.
And who was Lex Luger's first person to ever body slam?
Yep, Yokozuna.
Zuna. Bro, they recycled Hulk Hogan's storyline and gave it to Lex Luger. Wow, I just thought of that.
Yep.
Wow.
And like Lex Luger
That's
originally, he was originally the
GC.
narcissist.
I didn't even think about that too.
I didn't even think about that till now. They literally recycled Hulk Hogan's whole shit and gave it to Lex Luger. Wow, that's fucking.
He was originally a bad guy. And then after Hogan left, they're like, "Oh, well, we got to turn him babyface and make him made in the USA." That was his tagline, the All-American.
Holy fuck, they totally gave it to him. Wow.
Exactly. That was his nickname, too, the All-American.
Oh, my fucking God.
That dude was a chump.
Yeah. Well, yeah, now that you look at it, you're kind of thinking, was Lex Luger's career a whole lie? Like all he was like the Dollar Tree Hulk Hogan. You know what I mean?
Yep. And he never ever he had a couple good matches, but he never took off with that. I mean, and they realized that too. They were pushing Lex Luger when who they should have been pushing at that exact time was Bret Hart. Because I remember there was that Royal Rumble, and they both got eliminated at the same time, and they pretty much shared the Royal Rumble victory. It was Luger and Bret Hart, co-Royal Rumble winners.
How could you not push Bret Hart? I mean, that guy comes from a living, breathing machine of wrestling. How could you not?
He was in the company for years at that point in time. This is still early 90s, like 93, but he was ready to go then.
Well, I mean, it's not only him. It's not only him in the company. He had Bret Hart, Owen Hart, British Bulldog, Anvil. I mean, he brought a lot of motherfuckers to the table, bro.
Oh, yeah.
More than I guarantee Lex Luger did.
Exactly.
Lex Luger isn't even qualified to wash what's his name, Bret Hart's jockstrap after a match.
Lex Luger, all he brought was black panties.
Overrated wrestlers. Yeah, that's all he did.
Completely overrated.
Do you know any of his promos? Did anything stand out to you? Did anything stand out about Lex Luger at all?
All I
one
knew.
One promo when he was on the Indies and he couldn't get the name of the pay-per-view right. Like Super Brawl Saturday. What is it? That was like one of the funniest. If you haven't seen that, look that up. He's like, I don't even know what the name of the pay-per-view is. What is it? Super Brawl Saturday?
That's terrible.
This is what he's on the Indies and stuff.
I love when like a show's in like Pittsburgh and some of the wrestler says, "You're here in Philadelphia," and then they just get booed out of the crowd because they forgot the city there.
I mean, let's be real. The torture rack, does that really look painful? I mean, come on, man.
No,
that shit looked dumb as fuck.
A nice stretch.
That's pretty much all it was.
like a very elaborate back stretch. Like he's trying to get a kink out of someone's back. Here, I'll just put you on my shoulders and wrench your back. And the guy he could never
Oh, you
really
know
do it
what?
on his own either. He couldn't do it on his own. When he went to
You
WCW,
brought
he
up a
was
good
always
point, Jack.
What?
Yeah, this guy's he's a chump. But
he
Jack
was
brings up a good
fast.
point. So you said torture rack, right?
Yeah.
What's your favorite finishing move?
Oh fuck, bro. There's so many good ones. There's ones that I guarantee none of you guys
Mine.
ever heard of.
Mm.
What's yours? I would say, fuck, bro. Does anyone know what the acid drop is or no?
Acid drop.
From Spike
No.
Dudley.
That's the drop.
Where what he would do is he'd grab your head, get you in a headlock. He'd run up to the top turnbuckle, and he would do like a diving bulldog. It was called the acid drop.
Run the rope.
Oh.
Yeah, okay.
I've seen
Yeah.
that. I've seen that. Yeah.
I mean, I like the acid drop was good. Danny Doring. I don't know if you know Danny Doring. He's another ECW. A lot of my influences come from ECW. Hands down, the greatest wrestling company of all time, in my opinion. But Danny Doring, his fucking finisher was insane. The 3D, their finisher was insane. Stone Cold Stunner is insane. Rock Bottom, yeah.
Yeah. So many people have so many variations of that move. It's actually really generic.
What do
What,
you
the rock
think? What do
bottom?
you think is a good one?
Yeah, the rock bottom.
Yeah, because like Booker T had the bookend, which is that's really the same exact thing.
So what do you
And it's
think
tough
was?
It's tough to pick like a best finisher because they've all been like the finishers like in more modern are so much more elaborate and a lot better than what they used to be. Like Jake used to have the DDT. Basically, now it's just a move everyone does. But at the time, DDT was the move.
Yeah,
But for me, I'd probably have to go with being an Undertaker fan. I think Tombstone Pile Driver is one of the best.
okay.
I was waiting for one of you guys to say that. Bring that one up. That's mine.
And
The Tombstone Pile
more
Driver.
recently, the F5. The F5 is a pretty badass maneuver.
Okay, so how do you guys feel about this maneuver? In my opinion, this took a lot of athleticism. Holy fuck, athleticism. That's probably I don't even fucking know. Whatever. It took a lot of fucking strength. Okay, but Goldberg, the fucking jackhammer, that was a good one.
Jackhammer was a great move. Yep.
You know what? I agree because it's like a suplex, but then he has to hold you up and then cradle you kind of and then slam you. That's actually really hard. He did that on the Big Show, which was
Yeah,
holy
he
shit.
did on a lot of people that people were like, "What the fuck, bro?" Like, I mean, you got to give it to him. The jackhammer was good.
Yeah, I mean, it's like just like a standing vertical suplex, but then he just twists it around and he just puts all of his weight on you, and it's like a move with a pin combo,
right.
which are always the
That
best.
takes a lot of strength.
I mean, you got to
Oh,
think
absolutely. Yeah.
that the strength in that shit to hold him on your shoulder. Fuck all that, bro. And then
There's so many basic
flipping
moves
him.
that are just
I
iconic.
like this isn't a finishing move, but I like Undertaker's old school when he walks the top rope.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I think
You know how impressive it is to be 7 feet tall, 300 pounds, and be like a cat on that top rope. That is really difficult to do.
I think they actually called that move the feline. I think they actually did call it the feline.
Yeah, because I remember watching like during the New Generation. Obviously, it wasn't called old school then because it was still current school, and they would say feline or walking the line or But usually they would just awe at his athleticism while doing the maneuver. Like who can stand? This guy's 6'10", he's walking on the rope. Like they wouldn't have a move for it, a name for it until later on when it became old school. But that is also an iconic move too.
Yeah.
I
I hated his last ride. His last ride move. That
Yeah, just
Undertaker's
power
finishing.
bomb.
Okay, so what's
It's a
the
power bomb? All he does is just raise you up.
so what's the dumbest finishing move? Since we named all the good finishing moves.
The 5 knuckle shuffle.
The torture rack.
Torture rack. I was going to say torture rack.
God, I'm trying to think of one right now. I mean, the mandible claw was not that exciting, but
yeah, I mean, there's like a lot of basic
No, it
maneuvers that were tallied as finishers, and they just I don't know. Like I know people are going to probably hate this, but like the people's elbow, all it was is just an elbow drop. I mean, obviously you have the theatrics beforehand, which everyone loves, but at the end of the day, it's just an elbow drop.
I actually Yeah. I hated Hulk Hogan's finishing move, the leg drop.
Oh,
Yeah,
that
the
was
leg drop.
fucking so dumb. The big ass leg drop. Woo! Yeah, it's fucking tough. That shit
Yeah.
sucked.
And it
Well, how
always
did-
came
Triple
out
H's
the same with
pedigree
the
is
Hulk
kind of Triple
punches
H's pedigree
and
was
leg drop.
average. The
The
pedigree
pe-
was average too.
Pedigree is a very good move because you could sell it on a lot of points. Like if you were to like, let's say you did a pedigree onto a chair, you could actually make it look like you hit your face on the chair, but you didn't. There's a lot of
Yeah.
specialty to the pedigree that you could actually hide up. And so the pedigree, in my opinion, was a genius move, but I could see where you come up with that.
I seen him botch
Yeah,
the pedigree. It wasn't really him, it was the opponent that botched it. It was like in the mid-90s.
Yeah.
I always thought it was Shawn Michaels, but he dropped the guy literally on his head because the guy had taken the move, jumped way too high up in the air, had his legs up in the air, and Triple H just dropped him right on his head. And that was the deadliest the pedigree's ever looked.
I mean, how do you guys feel about the?
You know what move I like?
What's
Oh,
that?
go ahead.
No, go ahead, go ahead. What move do you
No, I was
like?
saying, the move I like that was repeated was like the RKO, but it's pretty much a diamond cutter from DDP.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Diamond Cutter, RKO.
Diamond Cutter
Also
was
basic
badass.
move, but very, very effective.
How do you guys feel about the frog
No,
splash?
yeah.
Oh, the frog splash is iconic.
I mean, okay, so when I say frog splash,
is iconic, definitely.
when I say frog splash, who comes to your mind?
Eddie Guerrero.
Eddie Guerrero.
100%.
Eddie Guerrero.
Yep.
Mhm.
And it's funny
And then
too
second,
because
RVD.
yeah, I was just gonna say that because I was gonna say there's another wrestler who does the frog splash, but it's funny that I mentioned it and all three of us thought Eddie Guerrero. Everyone thought of it, even the people that are probably listening are probably like Eddie Guerrero, but you are right. RVD was another one that did the frog splash. I'm sure there's many.
Five-star frog splash. And the way RVD could just turn his body while doing it, like he could hit a guy that's just like on the opposite side of the ring, not even laying in the right, form for him to take that move. He just twists his body around and hits it every time.
I mean, RVD could be a whole podcast. Like that guy is a fucking.
Absolutely.
He's the whole fucking show.
He's the whole. Yeah, literally. He could be the whole BFE show. God damn it, the whole BFE show.
He really could.
I mean, that guy is
Rob Van Dam.
I mean, that guy was fucking nuts, dude. I mean, man, he made everything happen.
He also had that great move, the move that Shane does, the coast to coast, where he jumps from one top rope
coast to
top
coast
rope to the chair.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Oh, he has so many. The tumbling Santon.
That was called the Van Daminator, wasn't it?
The Van Daminator was when you would hold a chair to your face and then karate kick that bitch.
Yeah. See, he had so many signature moves in this match, and that's what really makes it good wrestlers. When you have like Taker with the walk on the ropes, you have signature moves that aren't necessarily finishers, but you have signatures that people remember.
Oh,
like Austin had the Luthez press. RVD
I have the worst finishing move of all time now. I just thought of it. Big Show, the punch.
Oh, yeah, the punch.
What do you mean the punch? I thought he had the choke slam.
He did, but in his later
started doing this KO punch.
Yeah.
Oh, fuck. Are you serious? I gotta watch this.
It's just the right hook. That's all it is. It's just a move. Like you said, it's one of the worst finishing moves I've ever seen.
Great Khali had that little hand chop. Granted, he had a huge
chop.
hand, but the little chop.
Oh, God. Great Khali.
Like fucking Santino.
I hated that they
like that doesn't even count though.
I hated that they pushed him over. I hated that they had him embarrassed the Undertaker with the kick to the face.
I mean, you gotta admit, the Great Khali had no fucking wrestling talent. He had none. All that he had was size. That was it.
Yep. It was just something to look at.
Kind of like that one guy. Remember that one guy? I think he was in a Royal Rumble. He had like that fake on bodysuit, looked like a werewolf looking motherfucker.
Yeah, Giant Gonzalez.
Yeah, that fucking guy. That guy was fucking dog shit. You know what's funny is
worst match in the history of the streak with the Undertaker.
Well, you know what's funny is if you take away his muscle, little cosmetic shit, he was a scrawny motherfucker, bro.
He was. Yeah, because he was originally a skinny basketball player from Argentina. And then once he couldn't make it in the leagues, he went to WCW as El Gigante. And they fired him because he couldn't wrestle. And then they brought him as Giant Gonzalez. And he didn't even last long. He had a
No,
WrestleMania match. And he had
I
like
know.
another
I keep
match.
when I think of Giant Gonzalez, for some reason I think of like Bray Wyatt, or not Bray Wyatt. Sorry, Baron Corbin. For some reason, I don't know
Baron
why.
Corbin.
no. If you seen this Giant Gonzalez guy, you'd laugh. Like they gave him a bodysuit that looked like he had muscles. It was
Yeah,
pathetic.
a spray painted bodysuit. It was like, why would you have
Yeah,
him wear that?
that's it.
I mean, who would?
There's
I
guys
mean,
in the locker room walking around who look like him. Who look actually have real muscle.
I mean, as a man, how would you feel? You're walking in a locker room with all these dudes that are muscled up, they're fucking ready to go, and here your dumbass comes walking with a spray tan that looks like muscles. I mean, what the fuck? I'd feel,
This
It's a
shows bare
joke.
ass and everything. They even had an ass spray to paint it on there too. It was
bro. I would feel like a fucking
Oh
clown.
man. So bad.
I'd be like, hey,
You're a
bro,
chump.
did you go to the gym today? Yeah, I went to the gym. Look at my spray fucking muscles. Like, get out of here, you fucking weirdo.
The dude was 7 foot,
Oh, not the
7'4" or 7'7". He was a huge.
He was a big
Yeah.
motherfucker. He was tall. He
he
was
was
tall.
big.
Yeah.
He was
Not to go back too
tall.
far.
He towered
but
over Undertaker.
remember how we talked about intro promos? You know who we forgot about?
Who?
Who's
Or
that?
maybe you guys don't like him.
Who?
Hey.
Oh,
Oh,
you cut out a little bit. Who was it?
I said Mr. Kennedy. Remember when he drops the mic from the Rafters down?
Oh,
Yeah,
fuck.
yeah.
Mr.
I
Bro,
Kennedy.
hail
got
from Green Bay, Wisconsin, 235.
Fucking-
He cracked me up.
Kennedy. Yeah, he was.
And then he
that
waits
crowd
like 5 seconds. Kennedy!
he was good. Yeah, he
Kennedy.
had so much potential too. I guess he botched the move on Randy Orton. Randy Orton bitched about it, and that's how he originally got fired.
Yeah, I
So
hear.
I've heard.
Well, I'm sure that was probably
Well,
the right
Like,
information.
like they always say, if you had to build a wrestler from the ground up, he would look like Randy Orton.
Exactly. Yeah. Randy Orton was. He still is one of the best. There's a lot of people that hate on him, say he doesn't have personality or that his matches are boring, but they just don't really get the psychology behind his character and how he wrestles. Randy Orton's always been,
He does
top tier kind
What's
of guy.
that slam he does? That's called a scoop. Is that called a scoop slam? When he throws you against the rope and does like really really quick slam.
I mean,
Oh,
it
yeah,
could
it's
be.
kinda
It
like a
could
snap
be.
slam. Kind of how they used
I
to
like I actually like that
snap
move.
slam. Yeah.
I mean, it could be classified as a scoop slam. But well, hey guys, we're an hour in on the podcast, and this is our first episode of BFE Blunt Fortitude Exchange. I want to know what you guys think in the comments. Let me know what you think of this podcast. I'm really excited about it. I'm very happy to be partnered up with Slizzle and GamingCube. I do want to know what you guys think. We are going to be putting this out on podcasts on Spotify, Apple, any other podcast that there is out there. We will be on it. Look for BFE Blunt Fortitude Exchange. We are going to be making more episodes of these, so your comments are going to help and your feedback will help. But let us know what you think. I want to thank Slizzle and I want to thank GamingCube for being here. If you guys want to add anything at the end of this, feel free to add.
Oh yeah, it's been a blast, man. I feel honored to be a part of it and talk wrestling with two really good friends. I mean, we can go on for like another hour or 3 hours, but it was fun, man. And we got a lot of topics to discuss in the future.
Absolutely. Like I said, this is
I'll
our
keep
first.
this-
No, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say I'll keep it short and sweet. When you said we hit an hour, I was like, wait, what? I thought we just started. That's all you need to say.
Feels like it's only been 20 minutes.
No, we've been going for an hour and 5 minutes, and I agree with GamingCube. It's a great thing. This is a great start to a beautiful future, and like I said, this is our first one. We're gonna obviously keep going and see where we go from here, and I'm excited to see where it goes.
Heck yeah, man. Can't wait. Can't wait for the next one.
Yeah. That's good. That's good. We're just scratching the surface. There's so many guys we didn't even name and other things and events.
Oh, yeah.
And there's so much that I don't want to talk about. I want us to do on a new one.
Yep,
Crushing it. So,
absolutely.
yeah, I'm ready for it.
I think the second episode. Now let's not tell anybody. You guys gotta tune in. You gotta tune in. We're not gonna tell you anything about the second episode. You guys are gonna have to tune in. This is just our first episode, so let us know what you guys think. And with that being said, guys, if you are new to the channel, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and don't forget to hit that post notification bell so you do not miss an update, upload, or a live stream. Also, guys, stay tuned later on in the future. We are going to be having a Discord channel for this, for BFE Blunt Fortitude Exchange. We're going to be doing a lot of stuff, a lot of promotion on this. So I will see you guys later and take it easy. You guys have a good night. I'm out of here. Peace.